Okay, so today, you know, I sometimes struggle because, I don't want to set aside an hour of your guys' time for content or things that, aren't super valuable to you. So, sometimes I have weeks in advance knowing what I want to focus on. Sometimes I'm kind of searching last minute because, I could honestly talk on anything for an hour. But it's really important for me that it's valuable to everyone, right? That's why I think Sharon and I are really open about, please, like, give us your suggestions. I know we have that whiteboard in the office and a few people have written down some things on there, but I mean, just text, email, whatever, just share notes of things that are going on that you think are valuable. A few of you, I think, responded to a survey that Rob sent out. He told me he was doing it, and then he shared with me some of the results, and it was good to see. I mean, people were saying really good things about their experiences with coaching, and then there's also some areas for improvement, which we're going to listen to and take to heart. And one of them was that the content was valuable to you guys, and that's awesome. Some things that came up on it were lead generating, prospecting outside of just your sphere. Maybe some people felt like we talk a lot about the sphere of influence a lot. I know that's a big source of my business and many top agents, but I hear you. So we can definitely do that kind of thing if that's valuable to you guys. Scripting was one of the things that people said that's really helpful. I always walk away with a lot of good takeaways when we kind of go through scripting, when I get out of my comfort zone a little bit, which is awesome to hear. Again, I like doing it, and I know that it's going to make you a better agent by practicing it and being exposed to it, even though it is uncomfortable. So again, we want to keep that door open to suggestions and ideas. Today, I want to focus on, I guess what you could call is create the perfect listing. And I'll tell you what I mean by that. A lot of you guys have been working really hard to go out there and get listings, and many of you have sold listings, which is awesome. And you might say, well, Matt, why do you have to talk about creating a listing right now? It's a pretty hot market. All you do is just make it active. Part of that's true. However, you can also set yourself up to maximize your efforts to get the most out of that listing, the best price and terms for your client, and also the smoothest way to go move through it for you. Because as a listing agent on a really hot listing over the weekend, there is a difference between what you do to that can mean the difference of you having a weekend or not having a weekend. And I'll talk about that more. So today's, again, we're going to talk about kind of setting up the perfect listing. And I actually have a listing that just made coming soon today. And I'm going to kind of walk through that. We're going to talk about that. Some of the tips and tricks that Sharon and myself do. It's an open forum for you guys as well. So it's not necessarily about getting the listing. It's about getting it up and running in order to go live, and the kind of things I do. Make sense?
Mine just went live like 2 hours ago.
Awesome. So we're going to talk about that. It's not a coincidence that Sharon and I both listed our properties today, and we'll talk a little bit more about that too. So with that being said, where I'm going to start is, well, let me share my screen. Anybody have any questions so far? Sound like a good topic?
Well, with all the CMAs everybody's sending out, they're getting listing appointments.
Yep.
So we don't want you to feel paralyzed when they say yes, right?
Yeah, I think it's valid because I know like there's a timing thing, and a lot of people will have it go live for the weekend so that there's, more opportunity for showing or whatever. But the one that I have in house, she wants it to go live on a Monday, and I put my house live on a Monday and it was fine. So am I going to argue with her? Probably not about it.
No, there's some things that I think are important to explain to your clients, the what and the why, but at the end of the day, I'm not going to fight them.
No, and it's, if they're prepared for what that means, right? Because it's a convenience thing, but we'll get into that more later. Then that's cool. All our job is to inform and educate and present all options. And ultimately, those choices, all of those choices are the clients, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. She decided she'd rather have it spread out over the week rather than
Slammed.
one slam weekend. But
So
Okay.
correct me if I'm wrong, Matt.
Mhm.
We're not going to go over documents necessarily. I mean,
No.
not forms, right? Because that's a Pete's Forms thing. But from, let's say you get everything signed, then what?
Yeah, exactly. So there's not an exact kind of point to start, but I think it starts big time with expectations, right?
Mm-hmm.
And explaining to your client. What I mean by expectations is clients, and this is why I kind of involved this in my listing presentation / getting up and running, is they always want to know what's next, right? And it's sometimes hard to like tell them everything that's going to happen and for them to actually remember it, right? I met with Emily. This was like a while ago, but Emily shared with me some stuff she was putting together that was like the steps, and I really loved it. And it was something that she leaves with their clients, and it's like you can always reference back. Like these are the steps, like staging and photos, and then after photos, going live and the showings and this and that. So it was like laid out for them. So I put something on my website actually that I kind of refer to, but again, you don't have to reinvent the wheel here. There's a lot of stuff. You just copy and paste it, make it your own, but the purpose is to give someone a reference, if you will, so that you don't have to constantly, like when you have one listing, it's not a big deal, but imagine having like 3 listings go live and having to write up the same thing or having the same conversation with them, right? Instead, you can create a better model, right, and a system for being able to explain what's going to happen next. Are you going to have questions still? Of course you are, but it's not going to be necessarily reinventing the wheel every single time, right? That's working smarter, not harder.
Hey, Matt.
Yeah.
On that note, there's actually, if you go into the Command Smart Plans, there is a whole bunch of them out there. One I found that is all about how to prepare your client for a listing, and it goes over a series of emails, just a little bit of information at a time, so you're getting multiple touches off of it, like a little bit here, a little bit the next day, 2 days later.
I didn't know that.
Of course, you can go in there and of course change some wording as needed. I've been using it for a little while, and there's a buyer's one as well for buyer's education that
Nice.
definitely helps to automate it and makes it really simple.
Cool.
So do you remember who published it? Like if we were to search for it, or what the title of it might be?
I'll take a look at it right here in just a second.
Yeah, you can just throw in the chat when you find
Sounds
it.
Okay. So when I talk about setting expectations, I'm going to talk to my client about what's going to happen. And you have several opportunities to have those conversations. And one of them is during filling out the paperwork. I'm not going to go through filling out the paperwork, but I brought this up because this was the seller's disclosure for this property. And I, as a listing agent, feel an obligation to put as much information and have it as accurately as possible. Have you guys ever showed a house and these were like pretty much not filled out, but it was there and signed and initialed? It doesn't help you. It doesn't help your buyer, right? Now, I understand if a seller literally doesn't know. I get that. However, I hate the cop out of they've never lived in it or whatever. Like if they've owned the home for 10 years, they should probably know, right? Or just give more information to better explain the fact of you don't know and why you don't know. But I'm going to make a point to sit down with my seller and I'm going to really put as much information as possible. And I'm going to attach another page if necessary. Because why? Well, one, I'm protecting my seller. Number two, I want to provide as much information because I want the buyer to have this up front. I don't want them to learn about this later and then get cold feet or back out. I even provide copies of the seller's disclosure at my listing, right? They're right there on the countertop because most agents don't necessarily have it. The first time a buyer might see it is when they're submitting their offer, right? So I'd rather them have it ahead of time. So for this one, there was a basement leak, or a basement crack that was professionally repaired. I have that written here. The sump pump had failed. Insurance claim was made. Carpet was replaced. Water pressure backup was installed, right? So I'm putting all of that in here. Fireplace. My sellers don't know if the fireplace works. They've never used it. I make it a point, put it on there, right?
Can I interrupt?
Yeah.
For a second? Have you talked to Pete about you filling that part out?
Yeah.
Because my gut tells me leave it as a blank for them to fill out. But is he saying that you can?
I've never asked permission. I
Okay.
just do it. I hear what you're saying though.
Okay, so everybody's, unless, I don't know if you guys understand what my concern was. Technically, we're not supposed to touch this disclosure.
He just touched on that last week and
Okay.
reiterated not to, but more like asking them probing questions to get them to fill it out. more
Absolutely.
accurately or-
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay, sorry to derail you, Matt. Go ahead.
It's okay. And in fact, I don't ever fill this, like I'm filling it out with them. I'm just doing it electronically.
Can I chime in about the lead-based paint disclosure?
Yep.
I was at Real Comp some years ago, or GMAR somewhere, doing forms, and the instructor there said the lead-based paint form
Mhm.
outside of where we initial it and putting in the address, we
Mhm.
cannot. She said, and this is years ago, she said it was a $10,000 fine if agents fill out a lead-based paint disclosure and are caught doing that. So that is one you do not want to do except your name and initial and address.
I've never heard that.
I think they hammered that pretty hard just in like your real estate license class too.
So you guys know we have two different lead-based paint.
Oh, yes, I hate that.
This one, have you ever sold a property that was newer? It was built after 78. You just use this one. You
I
don't need.
cannot find that in DocuSign.
It's not, yeah, that one's not in DocuSign.
All right, so maybe we
You can get
Wait.
you can get a copy of that off of Real Comp
Hold
and their
on.
forms.
Can you scroll up,
Mhm.
Matt? Nope, up to the top. Is that a MAR? You need to find out. Not everybody, for some reason, has all the same libraries.
I don't have
Right.
a MAR library.
Well, then
Keeping-
that's why you
this
can't find that.
This is pulled from .loop, so probably why.
Okay.
But in
I
other
do, but
words,
it's not in there.
okay, I don't want to get in the weeds. All right.
All right, yeah.
Basically, it's just if the
Next.
property was built after 78, this is all you need. You don't need the other one with the check the boxes and this and that. So, but thanks for bringing it up, John. I get it. I understand. So when I'm gathering all the information, I'm at the listing appointment or after the fact, I'm taking lots of notes, guys, because when you go to the listing, you may have some previous information from a prior listing. There may be nothing. The way this seller, he bought it as a bank owned. So there wasn't a lot in the list listing. So I have a little laser measure too. I measure room dimensions. I usually people, John had posed the question, you there when the photos are done? I typically show up, especially in an occupied home. And that's the opportunity that I have to make notes and fill out the blanks, right? As soon as I get a listing signed, I'm going to start a partial save in Real Comp and I'm going to work on it over time, right? Because I'm going to fill in the blanks depending on the timeline. If it's a weeks or, a few days of listing it, it's going to be, different pressure, but I'm going to like I went through, I was making dimension. I was writing down dimensions, a little laser measure, and I'm doing that while the photos are being taken. I'm running around different rooms if I don't have them, right? Because the last thing I want to have to do is go back and forth to the house a bunch of times. So I start a partial save. I know some people do the whole MLS listing. Either one is fine. You either have to have that signed or an MLS proof signed. That's the way it works for me. The way I like it doing that because I don't have to enter the information twice, right? That's just personal thing. But whatever, I'm going to start the partial save. This is a coming soon in MLS right now, but it doesn't look any different. Does everyone know what a partial save is? It's basically a rough draft, right?
Mhm.
You start the draft and I know it's a little leery, unnerving when you like go to edit it. You're like trying to save it. You're like, am I saving it right? Right. So you just fill this. Can everyone see my screen, by the way? Okay. So you just say partial save and you just work on it. You can pretty much do everything as a partial save except attach the disclosures.
Documents.
Just
Yep.
reminded me that I haven't done that.
What about the pictures, Matt?
Yes, you can
Yep,
upload
you can put
pictures in
pictures.
a partial save.
Oh,
Yep.
I didn't know. Okay.
Yep. Because there's nothing worse to me than like a listing that pops up and like has no photos.
I know.
I know they
Or
will
one.
eventually go there, but like you have the time to do it,
Mhm.
set it up, make it all rock and roll. And that's again, part of what I'm trying to accomplish here is set up.
If I may add a pro tip, because I've been burnt by this, if you're doing a partial save on the second to last page, which is where the description is and the different things like that,
Yep.
it says on there under terms and conditions, list date. Do not fill that in until you're ready
Yep. Correct.
to go live, because it'll make you fill out like today's date
Yeah.
or whenever you sign the documents. And that's when your days on market is going to start,
Exactly.
even if you didn't go live.
When you are ready to
Just leave it
actually
blank.
go, yep. When you're actually ready to make it a coming soon, you
Then put it in.
Yep.
Yep.
But you can put the expiration date, and that's the expiration date of your contract. But
Yep.
yeah, leave that blank unless till you're ready.
Yep.
So go through.
That's great information. Thank you. I did not realize you could leave that blank.
Yes.
So I'm going to go through here and I'm going to fill all this out, right? And I'm going to be verifying. And when you create a partial save from a previous listing, don't assume all of that's accurate. Like even just something simple, like previously it said gas range, it actually has an electric range. So there's nothing worse than sending, a proof to a client and then nitpicking it apart. I mean, they're inevitably going to look at it, but I like crossing my T's and dotting my I's. I like having everything, my stuff together. So I even had to go to RealComp and revise the dimensions because it said an 80-foot lot. It was an 80-foot lot years ago. Someone bought and split and built 2 houses on 40-foot lots. So, I had to go and do that too. So my point is you spend time in here and you do this all. In the meantime, I'm also when I'm walking through with my client, I'm making them really understand what contractually has to stay and what has to, what will go or what they want to stay or go, right? Exclusions. And I get really granular about this. And I probably do it because it's burned me in the past, right? Where I just assumed people knew certain things that they didn't. So what I've gotten in the habit of doing is kind of, again, as my partial save, is just keeping my notes in here. And then ultimately I tweak it to make it what agents see. But I get very particular about them. First of all, I always put in here all questions and offers to my name, and I put my email and my phone number. You can't write listing agent in here. You'll get flagged. I think it's because they know these public remarks get pushed to sources like Zillow and all these things, and they don't want people putting their direct phone numbers in there for some reason, which is stupid.
People get pissed too. Other agents get really mad when you do that.
But you can still put it in the agent remarks. You just can't use certain words, like
just not in the public
listing
one.
Agent.
Yeah.
So I put my phone number and email in there, and I don't think you can put it in enough places because people they don't pay attention. And nothing irks me more. I don't know if you guys ever see this. When you're putting the contact information, right? Contact phone, put your cell phone. Don't put the office number, right? I don't want people calling the office or showing time. I want them calling me. I want them setting up showings through showing time. But, has anybody tried to get a hold of an agent and can't find their information? It's annoying. Make it easy. So I'm going to put my cell here. And I'm going to, again, in the agent remarks, I'm going to put everything that's important for them to know. Okay. So I put excluded: basement mini fridge, basement deep freezer, main floor flat screen TV and mount. Included: all kitchen appliances, washer, dryer, shed, basement flat screen TV mount, master bedroom flat screen TV mount, negotiable trampoline. My sellers don't really want it, but they just don't want to say it's free. Occupancy: seller needs occupancy through the end of June, right? If there's anything else in here, I would add. I added quite a bit in my Novi listing because we were showing it through certain windows. We already had called for a deadline for offers. We already said when we were going to review offers. So I put more information in there, but I think, the more information you can put it is better. I hate when people just copy and paste the same thing. Agents don't need to see the same as the public remarks. Put stuff that's going to help them write up an offer and answer their questions. Otherwise, what? You're going to get 50 questions from the same people saying, what kind of occupancy do they need? All right. You got up there, it says negotiable, right? Or 30 to 60, whatever. But that doesn't answer their questions. And a good agent, like we teach you guys, should be calling the listing agent. I'm not saying don't call me. I'm not saying I'm not going to take someone's call. I'm just giving them everything on a silver platter to write a great offer that they need. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Mhm.
Okay. So, Sharon, anything to add?
Nope.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
I'll interrupt you if I do.
okay. So what I like doing.
Let me just ask you something, Matt.
Oh,
So we
there you
cannot
go.
we cannot add, sorry, we cannot add the phone number and the email in the public remarks.
No.
Mm-mm.
Oh, okay.
Well, you want
Yeah,
to make
because
sure.
once, you know what I did once? I wrote that there was a like a tour on my
Yeah.
Instagram, and I got a warning from Realcomp. So I'll never do it again. But I didn't know
Yeah.
about the email.
Yeah.
And
I
the
did
phone
something
number.
like that once, and I had another agent blast me in an email, like accusing me of trying to double dip and do all this stuff. And I was like, I wasn't, that's
Oh
not
my
where my head was at,
goodness.
but that's okay.
If you want to ensure that clients that see your listing on different portals call you directly, make sure that you have profile set up on all those platforms. I know
Mhm.
people bash Zillow and all these. It's free to have a profile. You should have a profile on realtor.com, Trulia, Zillow, all of them, HomeSnap. Update your picture. Make sure your phone number there is your cell phone. Make sure your email is proper. Like if you update your contact information on all of those places, people will find you.
Yeah,
Right?
of course. Yeah. No, but I didn't even make it for double dipping or anything. It's because I
I
had
know.
made
I
a
know.
very
I
nice
know.
video,
Mhm.
and I just thought, oh, maybe it's another, it's
Yeah.
a different way for them to. But then
Yeah.
on the other hand, I thought, why doesn't everybody do that? Because it would be
Right.
nice. Yeah.
Yeah.
Then I understood why.
So you can't put links in the public remarks to any videos, a link to your website, a link to your ad. You can't do that,
Mhm.
but you can do the virtual tours, and there's branded and unbranded.
Mm.
And if you have video or virtual tour done by a reputable company, they'll deliver it in a few versions for you.
Mhm.
And whether it's floor plan, Matterport, whatever it is, they're gonna, and what branded and unbranded means is that the branded has your logo, says Keller Williams, it has your phone number. They don't want to advertise the branded on there. However, they do allow you to put it, so I don't really know why. But
Okay.
anyways, if you have video, third-party website, whatever, you can put them here.
I have one more question. I know you've already been through this, but
Yep.
about the square footage.
Mhm.
I have a listing that's coming up next week,
Mhm.
hopefully. The public record says 18 something close to 1900 square feet.
Mhm.
But when they bought the house, the builder announced it as 2100,
Ooh.
and the house is 2100 square feet.
Says who?
The appraiser,
Okay.
on the
Oh, okay.
appraisal they did.
So
So
whatever the I don't want you to cherry pick the best one that's going to help you the most, but I would use the most recent, especially in older homes. They've had additions, sunrooms, it's been inaccurate, accurate, changed, whatever. Don't manipulate it for your own advantage. But if you have a legit whatever, put the most accurate you can to your best of your ability on here, right?
okay.
Can
I put either appraiser or builder?
Yeah, right there.
Or owner?
Right there. Look
or
at where.
not?
Do you see the screen that he's sharing?
I do.
You can put any of them. You can
I
put
know, but
anything that are going to help you.
You wouldn't
Pick.
be a problem. Okay.
No.
Okay.
I mean, we there's this caveat, BATAVIA, buyer's agent to verify all
Okay.
information.
Yeah.
However, keep in mind that here, let me just show you, this property, right? You're gonna see the history here, right? You're gonna see the previous world.
Yeah, and in the previous listing, it was 2100.
Well then.
Not 19.
Okay.
Then you're fine.
So I'm not adding anything to any.
No.
But it's just that in the public records, I don't know why they registered as 1870 something. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. Thank you.
And if you are going to potentially have that issue where someone says, hey, you better have some sort of documentation,
Okay.
whether it is that appraisal or builder plans or something to support your, not just, the eight that they told me, right?
Okay.
All
Okay.
right. So,
Thank you.
yeah, you're welcome. I'm going to, do this full thing. I'm going to upload the photos, right? I'm going to, I'm going to change the order of the photos, whatever you see fit. There's a lot of different schools of thought on this. I've gone back and forth between putting the best photos at the first 5 because people have a short attention span versus walking through it versus, whatever. I'll tell you this, do whatever makes most sense for you. I wouldn't misrepresent the home, but at the same time, if you've got a shitty photo, don't put it on here. If you've got something that doesn't highlight the home in a positive way, don't put it on there. I'm not saying manipulate it and Photoshop a power line out. I'm just saying don't put one on that someone's going to look and immediately write it off. Because the way you should think about it is online's your first showing. And, all you're trying to do is get someone to like it enough online to come through the door. Right. So anyways, you can do all of this before going live, and you should be speaking with your seller in terms of what that looks like. So the conversation with these sellers went like this. Listen, Mr. Seller, what we need to decide on is the date that we want to target for your listing to go live, right? What I mean by live is like for showings to be able for an agent to come through your door. Okay. And from that date, we're going to back a few days because I'd like to do some pre-marketing. What I mean by that is I can list it as a coming soon, which gets in everybody's who's looking's inbox and in the search portals, right? So they can see it, but they can't tour it yet. They can schedule a tour for coming days, but it gets the hype up, right? Rather than we want to start showing Saturday and we list it Saturday. That doesn't give enough people time, right?
Right.
So backing a few days from that, I need some time to get the marketing together, all right? And before that, I need to have the photos taken. I usually have a 24-hour turnaround time getting photos back. So in other words, if I had photos done on Monday, I could get them back on Tuesday. I could get everything together and post it as a coming soon on Thursday, and I could have showing start on Saturday. So do you see how that week time frame works, right? And you could stretch this out. I mean, I could have photos taken today and not list for 3 weeks, but
because I don't know if I would only give myself the 24 hours, because now what if something comes up in your day and you're under the gun? Give yourself like a couple days of wiggle room so you're not freaking out.
Yeah. And keep in mind that timeline that I just explained was, using the weekend as the showing window. Perhaps it doesn't work out like that, or maybe they're having family over and they can't list until Monday. That's okay. But you, again, should just be setting this expectation and discussing what this looks like so that they can have a target date. Because guess what? Before you have photos done, you should be giving them a date by which they need to have everything that they need to do inside done, right? Because although I don't always bring in a professional stager, I'm going to walk the home in detail with my sellers ahead of time to give them a written plan of what they need to do. So when the photographer shows up with me, all that stuff is done. Does that make sense? So when someone says, hey, can you come out and list my house? And I go for a listing appointment and they assume that I'm going to take the photos that day and it's going to be listed the next day. No. That's not the way I do things. And let me tell you why. I appreciate the urgency you wanting to get on the market, but I don't want to just wing it. I don't want to just throw it up there. Even in this market, and there's a reason for it, right? Pre-marketing works, right? There's a lot of buyers out there, but they have to know about the home in order to maximize what they're potentially going to get for it and the exposure for it. So with this particular one, I actually had photos done a week and a half ago, right? And we were waiting on some other things. They said, okay, great. Earlier this week, they said, this is the week. I said, awesome. Let's talk about that for a second. What does showings look like? They said, Matt, how do showings work? Great question, right? A lot of sellers don't understand, especially if they haven't sold a house in the past few years. So, the old days, it used to be an agent call me, I would call you, see if it would work, call them back, right? Now we use the showing time platform, which makes it really convenient because I'm going to actually put your email and phone numbers in to showing time. When an agent requests a showing, it's going to get notify you and them. You guys know this, but I'm going to explain that to my clients. And I'm going to say, with this world right now, COVID, low inventory, right? We can expect a fair amount of activity. Let's talk about when you want the home to be able to be available to show, right? The last thing that I want to do is not put any restrictions on and just have a bunch of requests come in and have my seller be like, nope, that doesn't work. Nope, that doesn't work. Nope, that doesn't work. So what I actually do, what I did in this one, and I did with my last one that seemed to work, because this home is occupied and they have 2 young kids, is to work backwards. What I mean by that is, and I'll pull up showing time. Oh, geez. I'm going to say, what is your perfect, Mr. Seller, Mrs. Seller, what is your perfect showing windows look like? And they said, what do you mean? Okay, when do you want, when can you commit to have the house ready and be out so I can just show it? So I can just basically say it's available for showing these days between these times. And then in this particular case with my sellers, I set all of these showing restrictions up, okay? For today, so it went coming soon today. And you know, when you list a property as coming soon, you can still schedule showings on it, which is weird. So I blocked out today and tomorrow because we didn't want any showings. And then they want showings on Saturday between 11 and 8 o'clock. So I went in and I created a showing rule that said no showings, one-time rule on 5/1 between 5 a.m. because that's the earliest showing time allows showings right now, until 11 a.m. So no one can request anything between 5 and 11. They can request between 11 and 8. And then I blocked out from 8 till 11:45 because that's the last time. So during that window is the only time that someone could schedule a showing, which I've already agreed with my sellers that that's the window. So when a showing request comes through, it's going to be in that window already, and they can just auto approve it. Or I can just set it as a go and show. Even though it's not vacant, the only time that I've allowed anyone to even request a showing is during the time my sellers already told me they're going to be out. Does that make sense, guys? Yeah, sure.
So I've played around with the option of making it a go and show when my clients are away for the whole weekend, but I've opted not to, and this is why. And if you know a way around it, let me know.
I know where you're going with this.
What if they schedule it for next week?
Great question. So
Let me just tell you what I did. So what
Yeah.
I did for my clients is I kept it as the regular, 2-hour notice or 1-hour notice, whatever. And I told them, listen, I don't want you to stress out about any of this. I will handle everything from Thursday morning until 4:30 on Sunday.
Mhm.
I will approve everything.
Mhm.
You're just going to be an FYI. Any appointments that are requested after whatever the agreed upon time is, that's up to you to confirm because that depends on your schedule. And we've just kind of left it like that.
Got it. And I know that this sounds like, imagine yourself as a seller, your life, you're busy, and then you start getting text messages with a showing request. You'll get 2 every time minimum, requested and approved if you do approve it. And then you'll start getting canceled, rescheduled. Like
And if you have them set up on phone calls for the cancellation, their phone's going to be blowing up. And
I don't ever set up with people on phone calls. It can get insane. So yes, moving forward, I thought you were actually going to say something else, which I'll talk about. So moving forward, I already said to my sellers, I said, listen, let's pretend we don't have an acceptable offer by the end of the day Sunday, and we have to continue showing it during the week. I'm just going to block off until 5 p.m. every day, all next week, so no one should request anything during the day anyway. Right?
okay.
And I didn't.
So can I interrupt and just ask a question?
Yeah.
So back to like setting up go and shows, you can't separate the listing as one type.
No, you can't do like go and show these days and then these days request only. No.
Okay.
Unfortunately not. I wish you could. Probably would make a lot of sense. I don't think that, well, showing time, as you know, is bought by Zillow. So Century Lock's building out their own. I think probably KW's, if I'm honest, probably is building out their own. So yeah, I think there's opportunity for improvement, but in this world right now, I'm assuming with, I'm gonna ever assume, but I'm gonna pretend as if my showing is gonna be, I'm gonna have an accepted contract by Sunday, right?
Mhm.
And if there's any showing scheduled for next week, I'm just gonna cancel them if we accept something. But so you see what I'm doing? I'm setting up this. Whereas if anybody requests it anytime during this, it's just we're gonna approve it, right? So we're not gonna have. Again, when you get floods of incoming and then you get canceled, what are you going to get? Or just decline showing? You're going to get a phone call from the agent saying, hey, your seller declined my showing request. What time works? I'm trying to save you guys headaches. It's I know it sounds like a good problem to have. It's terrible because you're just playing phone tag and then you're this and it's annoying. And in fact, my last one, because I had so many showings, I just took off notifications for my seller. She just said, hey, how many do we have for today? I would tell her. Because again, the only times people were requesting were between the hours that I already set. She already knew when she had to be out of the house. And the guys, this is right now market. This isn't going to be normal market, right? But I'm just telling you, if you have that hot new listing that you think is going to be gone by the weekend, this is way to set it up. Okay. I put their contact information in here, right? I know that seems like a no-brainer, but I'm going to put both people on here if they're married, right? I'm going to put anyone that's involved in the transaction here, but I'm going to let them know that they are. I don't know why she's your push. They must have set that. I'm going to let them. Most people don't want the call. Right, especially if they're texters, texting is fine. Their email address, keep in mind, if you don't put an email address in there, they're not going to be able to get the feedback too. Even if they don't want email for showing requests, they're not going to be able to get the feedback when it comes in. Okay, so I put my client's information in there, including email. I'm right now on this one preemptively, I changed the maximum appointment time to 15 minutes. I know I'm that agent. No one can tour a home by 15 minutes. The reality is, one, people spend as much time in a house as they need, to be honest with you. I've never known anyone said, oh, my time's up, we got to be out. But I did it selfishly to be able to allow more showings. My sellers don't want to show it for like a long period of time, right? Contrary to what I told them, I said, listen, let's do it Thursday, Friday in the evening, Saturday, Sunday. They said, no, we don't want to. Okay, fine. Here's what we risk by not doing that. But at the end of the day, I'll do what you wish. Right? Know that I'm probably going to have agents call me that want to get in before, but I understand. So, trying to make sure that I accommodate as many as possible. Okay. Made sure that there was no lead time required because again, I set it up to basically for people to be able to request it during the time that we've already talking about. And I'm going to make it very clear. I'm going to send them multiple times so we're on the same page with these times, right? Make sense? This will save you a lot, guys. Truly. I'm also, and I haven't done it yet, but I'm also going to put in the showing notes. What am I going to put in the showing notes? I'm going to put all the stuff that I put in the agent remarks. Does anyone, that's just what I do. Does anybody know why I might do that?
In case they didn't read it on the MLS form.
Exactly.
Yeah, in the hope that they're going to read it.
Yep. I know oftentimes when I'm showing houses, a client might send me an address and I might show it. Shame on me if I'm in a rush or whatever, but I don't go and study the listing a lot before. But I do know when I go to schedule it or get it accepted and then go to see it, like I see these notes, especially when I pull up the instructions, whether it's a lockbox code or Century Lock, I'm going to see all of this. So I'm going to make sure that that's there as well. Right. And I think it helps the agent too. The agent's walking around. He's like, oh, actually, yeah, the sellers are including the shed and they're, excluding this. I mean, it's helpful. John, you got your little cartoon hand up. John?
Yes, I did.
Oh, yep.
Yep. Oh, I did. I just had a question about, you said showing times allowing schedules from 5 a.m. to what, 11 p.m.? Where did you find that? I thought it was 8 to 9 or something. So
look at so the so when you create a showing rule, right, like right here, new showing rule, you can set a showing restriction or exception, right? You can do a reason. I just put no showings. You can do a timed rule between a certain time or all day. If it's just continuous, it's all day. Or if it's just a one-time thing, like let's say on Friday. Let's say I wanted to do a Friday tomorrow on the 30th, a one-time rule on the 30th, and I want it to be timed. So I want it to start. This is the window, the showings. So this is as early as, right? So as early as 5 a.m. and as late as 11:45. So let's just say I don't want any showings until 5 o'clock. I'm going to block out from 5 a.m. to 5 p.m. on this day, no showings, and hit save. Make sense?
yeah, interesting. I never,
Yeah, I think the default, I've always known them to be 9 a.m. to 8 p.m. or 9
Yeah.
a.m. to 9. So
9
I
to
don't know
9.
why. I don't know when that popped up or why.
Maybe now, just as a result of so many people trying to get in.
Yeah, exactly.
It's annoying.
Yeah. I mean, if it's a vacant house, great, go at 5. You know, you won't be running into any other agents. I mean, the earliest I've ever showed a house was 8 a.m.
yeah, same here.
And I don't like showing houses in the dark, so I'm not gonna, you know. So, anyways, I'm gonna make sure that this is as buttoned up and I'm clear and communicative with my my sellers to make sure we're on the same page, right? So that's what I'm going to do via showing time. I copy and pasted that here. I don't ever put notes for appointment staff. That's like basically like if someone's calling into showing time or something like that, maybe you could, it doesn't hurt to, I guess, but we don't have, this is back in the world where there was like an actual like answering service scheduling them. Now it's all automated. So make sure if you are the listing agent, make sure you're putting notes in here. If like, the lockbox is in a weird location, or, you know, I've run into this lately a lot, detached garages. Where's the garage door opener? Some sellers do a really good job and it's right there prominent on the countertop. Sometimes it's like there is none, but the key for the front door also works the side door. Make it easy for your people, because guess what? Again, guys, one, you'd be doing your sellers a disservice because the buyers that are coming through can't see the home. Number two, you're going to get phone calls. And they're going to be pissed and they're going to be at the property and they're going to be wondering why they can't get in. So whatever is information is there to help yourself. I mean, I've even run into, there's no lockbox, but there's a code, or there was a lockbox, but there was a code, but the code wasn't for the lockbox. The code is for the keypad door. I mean, just put yourself in the buyer's agent's shoes and make it as easy as possible.
Do you ever run into I don't always think of this, but when I'm leaving a house, I'm always in that conundrum. I always try to leave it as I found it. But then when I get to the garage door, do I lock it or do I not lock it? And
Leave
then
it how you found
you know,
it.
I leave it how I found it. But you know, I feel like I'm going to try to include that in my asking of my agents. How do you know, or my clients, how do you come home? Do you pull in your garage and then walk in through the kitchen? Because
there have been people that are locked out of their house.
Yeah, I don't keep a key, you know, on my, you know, I usually just come through the garage.
Great question. If your sellers, if you know, I've had sellers that say, we never lock that door. Actually, we don't even know where the key is. I'm like, ooh, you like put tape over it, right? So it doesn't accidentally, like your Post-it note, like make it abundantly clear. Like, don't lock this door, you know, like don't lock deadbolt or whatever it is that you might, because you will put yourself in a situation where the next agent will coming through or the seller comes home and they're like, we're locked out of the house, right? Now, in my opinion, the seller should address that ahead of time, but inevitably you're going to have those situations. So
inevitably, you know, it's one thing, they don't think of it. They're trying to like clean up real fast. They run out the garage, they close the garage, and then they come home and they're like, oh, we can't get in.
Exactly. So yeah, I'm going to talk about all those things with my seller, especially if you have multiple doors or multiple access points or detached garages. That's always a big one. And yeah, go through all those things to be able to not just put them in the notes, but like help the agent, right? The showing agents, whether, I mean, you might have to go and type something up and tape it, right? Like, go above and beyond to make it abundantly clear, because, when people are going through the home, they're just focused on seeing the home. And I do say, please leave the home as you found it. I'm going to tell my sellers at the beginning of each of these days we're showing it to turn all the lights on, right? Open the blinds, turn the lights on, have the home prepared for the day, right? And as a buyer's agent right now, I kind of, when I come into a home, I just kind of, if I'm turning a light, I turn it off. We're trying to not touch as much things as we can, but that's not realistic. You need to open closets, you need to open bathrooms, you need to open cabinets, right? Just do it with some care, some being careful a little bit. In fact, the last agent or the last listing I had, and I don't have it here, it's in my car. I went to Target. I got a little box, like a decor box. It's got 3 compartments in it. And one of them I had a big tub of hand sanitizer, and the other one I had shoe booties, and the other one I had rubber gloves. I just bought a pack of like 100 rubber gloves. And do people use them to put them on to go open cabinets? Probably not. Do my sellers look at me as trying to do everything to keep them and their family safe? Yes. Right. In fact, I have to go to this new listing because I have 3 giant tubs of giant pump things, bottles of hand sanitizer. So I'll put one by the front door, one in the kitchen, and one upstairs, just to show that I'm doing that. Okay, so fast forward.
Let's talk about the description.
Yeah. Did someone just have a question? Sorry.
Where do we get the lock boxes? Do we purchase our own?
So I use Sentry Lock. Most agents in our office are using Sentry Lock. It is supposed to be mandated for us to go Sentry Lock. I know not every listing agent at every company uses Sentry Lock, and that's annoying. But we should be using Sentry Lock. Now, there's been some hubbub about this, but technically, Real Comp should provide you with minimum of 1 lockbox. Now, if you call them and say, hey, I need a lockbox, a Sentry Lock lockbox, they're going to ask, first, they're going to say, do you have an active listing or do you have a partial save? They can see on their end if you have a partial save. So if you know you're going to be getting one, you don't have a lockbox yet, start your partial save. That way you can go get your lockbox. They also might say, your brokerage already has 250 of them. Get one from someone in your office. Pete hates that. Rob hates that. I hate that. It's kind of sucky because it's lazy. Are there agents that have lockboxes? Sure. Should they have to give them up because RealComp doesn't want to give out more? Well, RealComp's the one who decided to go this switch. So in my opinion, they should provide them. I'm not saying you're going to go get 10 if you don't have 10 listings or 10 partial saves, but they should provide you one.
And especially as a new agent, and they're like, you need to go get one. I'm like, from who? I don't know. I know like 4 people.
Well,
who am I to go up to somebody and say, I need a lockbox?
If that happens, go to Pete or come to me and Sharon and just say, hey, this is what RealComp's telling me. I want to see if there's anyone that have any to spare. And what you can actually do is through the Sentry Lock app, reassign a lockbox to another agent, right? Yep. So it's then their quote unquote property. They can assign it, they can use it, whatever. But that's what RealComp's probably going to tell you. It's what they've been telling people recently. Is go find one in your brokerage first, or go ask for someone who's not using one, and that's what they mean by that.
They gave me a list of some of the, high numbered, agents. I don't know, at the time I didn't know any of them, so I just shared that with Pete, and we were finally able to track one down.
Okay, yeah, I mean, I have a couple too, which I've hoarded. I don't need them at this moment, but I don't want to have to go through rigmarole if all of a sudden I do. I have a couple extra signs, like I just want to I want to have them in case it's the last thing I want to worry about in order to get a listing go live. So there are other agents like that as well. There's probably some agents that have more than they need. So if that happens, if they tell you that, come talk to Pete, Rob, myself, Sharon. We'll figure it out. But
how does it work to get a Sentry Lock? Do we have to pay for it? I've never.
No, that's what we're saying. Call RealComp. Tell them that you need one. They're going to
But
have
we
to
don't-
see evidence. Hold on. They need to see evidence on MLS that you have one, and they will give you one. You don't have to pay for it.
If you have 0 active listings and 0 partial
sorry, what?
saves,
They're gonna call me and say, do you have a lockbox?
we just
I know
talked about
that Pete just walked in. Did you hear him?
Yeah.
He goes, no, they won't give you one. They'll call me. Oh, Pete says he does have some. Wait, what? Come here. He said you still have to go through them. They still have to call Real Comp?
Yeah, and Nancy's gonna call.
Come
me
here.
and say,
Come, everybody's online. You might as well just, it's the coaching class. He's slowly hobbling over here.
if you guys have a listing partially saved, that's all you need.
Yep.
And then you can call RealComp, talk to Nancy, and Nancy will say, let me see what I can do. And she'll send me an email and I will tell her what the lockbox serial number is and she'll transfer it over.
Okay, cool.
All right.
There you go. Everything you need to know about lockbox.
But to go back to Alicia, to your question, like if you just called and said, hey, I just want 5 lockboxes. If you don't have any partial saves or actives, they're going to say no. Would they sell you some? I don't know, maybe, but no, you don't have to pay for them.
Oh, I always thought that we had to pay for it.
You pay for it in your dues. Don't get me wrong. You pay for it. It's just
Yeah,
in your
you're
dues.
right. Yeah, you're right.
Sarah, did you
Never
have a
thought
question?
of it.
Yeah. What is when you say need a lockbox or a Sentry lockbox, what's the need versus just a combination lockbox?
Well, they don't provide any combination lockboxes.
Well, I know, but like say you have a listing, can you just put a combination lockbox on it and be done?
You could, if in a worst case scenario, our brokerage, Pete has said, hey, this is our standard.
Gotcha.
We're going to put all of our listings on
Oh,
Sentry locks.
Okay,
Okay.
that makes sense.
If you ever run into somebody from our office that's not on a Sentry lock, politely tell Pete. He would surely love to.
Hey,
know.
Matt,
I
Matt.
never use Central Locks. Central Lock.
Well, Matt,
Sarah?
when I was talking to my listing
Hold on, guys.
earlier,
We
Yeah,
got.
we're like going off the
I
rails.
love the contribution. John, go first, please.
I think what Sarah's looking for is the difference between the combination and the central lock. The nice thing about the central lock is you know what agent at what time is accessing your listing.
It's digital. There's a
It's-
record of
it's
everything.
digital, and there's a record. When you use
And-
the combination locks, you'll have agents, depending on where you're working, will just show up at the house and try getting in without having an appointment if they think it's vacant. I've had that happen in Dearborn when my people were inside, an agent came up and tried getting in the house, and
Oh my
they were
God.
like, they were like 2 hours late or something. And so the nice thing with the electronic lock boxes is you know what agent is accessing your listing at what time.
Right.
What-
Yeah. I
an
remember
option they
learning about
have-
it, just-
An
they had
option
to
they
color.
have that I haven't seen anybody use, and I've been tempted to use it, is you can make it, if I understood the release correctly, you can make it so when an agent makes an appointment, if they don't show up during that appointment time, they cannot access that lockbox.
Yeah,
Right.
that was newer because of those issues.
Thank you.
What with the just the regular tumbler lockbox? If someone has that code will work at any time,
Yeah.
including
Yeah, they can come
in the
over whenever they
morning.
want.
Yeah.
Right.
And it's not that all agents are thieves. It's the agent with the client over their shoulder that looks at it and then says, hey, I just toured this house. It has some nice stainless appliances. I saw the code was 1234. Does that happen very often? No, but this is just one more level of security. And as a listing agent, my job is to protect the seller's interest.
And you talk about security. Unfortunately, sometimes things show up missing during showings,
Or the key's gone.
right? Yeah, or the key. I'm talking like jewelry or things like that. You want to know who the last person was that came through there.
And while we're on this subject and we're beating this dead horse, but
Yeah.
if you ever go to a listing and there's an agent inside already and they have the lockbox open and they have the key, right? Have you ever been run into this?
Yeah,
Cut the lockbox, run your code, open it, get the key.
yeah.
That keeps the record that you were there. Otherwise, you could go back and be like, yeah, we were there. Well, your records don't show you were there, but I just walked in the door because it was already open. That make sense?
It's a pain in the neck. It's a pain, but
Especially right now, it's back
It's
to
a
back
thing.
to back to back.
Yeah.
showing.
Yeah.
And that's why on a really busy day as a listing agent, I was there to kind of help traffic control. But anyways,
Mhm.
so you've got your listing, it's ready to go. You've got your photos, you've set up showing time. Like, I mean, you are ready to go. You've got your documents already set as a PDF ready to upload, which I'm going to do right now. You know, you've got in there your agent remarks are due. Then you put in here what the public remarks. Now, I have a hard time with these sometimes because
I can help.
I don't want to feature dump, right? But at the same time, I'm not painting this glorious picture of what someone could. So my point of view is, yes, I want to sell the house, but I'm also going to try to mention all the things that maybe aren't abundantly clear from the photos or from just walking through the home that might help sell the home, if that makes sense.
Mhm.
What do you think?
So I, when I first started, was petrified of writing these things.
Because you're not a copy.
And yeah, petrified. And someone gave me a list of descriptive words, you know, which instead of saying small, you say cozy, you know, or like stupid stuff like that. But so I have that list and I can share it. But I also came across this little template online that helps. Do you mind if I share it? Will I be able to? Multiple participants can, let's see.
No, go ahead.
It's a little cheesy, but it helps keep me on track, right? So the idea for this template is the first couple sentences grab attention. The next ones create interest by providing the readers with interesting facts about the property. Wow. Maybe that the roof was new and that, you know, stuff that, like Matt said, isn't about how many bedrooms it is. They already know that. They can see that in the listing, right?
Unless it's like, I'm sorry to cut you off. Unless it's
okay.
Something like in the area that most houses are 4 bedrooms and this is like a super rare 5, right? You know, like,
correct. Yep. And that would be something of interest, right, to them that you want to highlight. And then the next would be desire. Write something that makes your readers go from being interested in your listing to actually seeing themselves live in it. So if it's got an awesome patio in the backyard, say something like, you can entertain your family in this backyard in the summers. Like, say it. Or picture this next winter. Ice fishing. I mean, I don't know, you're right, whatever.
Exactly.
And then the last sentence or couple sentences would be, give your readers a clear action to take now, right? Like, schedule a showing, RSV, you know, whatever, call for more information, which, you know, whatever, that kind of thing. So then what you do is you come down here and it reminds you, right? Like what to write. Like I was like, oh, it's a worry-free Highland Lakes, highly sought after condominium, you know, vinyl, oh gosh, remind me later. Vinyl wood flooring, you know, things that they may not know. Stainless steel appliances, you know, the roof was replaced 3 years ago.
But you see with that one, stainless steel appliances included. Like, so it's reinforcing their stainless steel, but also writing included. Because how many times have you guys gone to a showing as a buyer's agent and you're walking through and the clients go, are they including the fridge? And you're like, oh, I don't know. Like,
right.
It might not be abundantly clear, you know?
Right. So, and then the desire part gets cheesy, right? Stay cozy in front of the fireplace while you look out onto the lake. Like, you just get them to like picture it, right? And then if you'd like to find out firsthand whether or not this is your future home, I actually take out the whether or not. It's if you'd like to find out if this is the home for you, you know, be a little more assumptive. And then down here, they have it all together, but it's kind of annoying. I just go and I copy and paste these blocks, throw it in the MLS, and then you have to start monkeying with it because you're only allowed to have a certain amount of characters. Yeah. Typically, my first run is too many characters, right? And you start changing and to ampersands, and you know, you start doing anything you can to like reduce characters. Yeah. But this helps me, and I'll share it. I'll put it in the files section of the coaching Facebook group. Mm-hmm. It helps me stay focused on the few things that I want to say, rather than sitting there and being paralyzed saying, oh my God, what do I say?
That's good. Awesome.
And where's the other thing that I have?
You can put this in coaching drivers, or do you
yes.
already in there?
I don't know if it's already in there. But here's the other thing I have, and I'll put this up there too. These are like thesaurus type things, right? It's immaculate, refined, spotless, unspoiled, you know.
Has anybody seen those memes? Like what
Yeah.
does cozy mean? Small.
Yeah.
Like
It's a gem. Yeah. Petite, quaint, charming, right? That means it's small.
Yeah.
Modest, you know, whatever. So if you're stuck, but I'll throw this in here too, right? This is kind of like the same. It's
Cool.
just a graphic of it. It's handsome, lovely, you know, blah, blah,
Don't ever
blah.
use tantalizing, please. No one.
It's tantalizing.
So mine, you want to, can I switch back to mine?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I'm just curious. I'm not winning any awards for this, but you know, I look at, because everyone see it. I just wanted to highlight, you know, in Royal Oak, there's houses that obviously are 50, 60, 70 years old. Some are newer built on an old foundation, like a pop top or something. So I just wanted to focus on the fact that this was 2004 built with extra deep lot. You know, where the deep lot isn't always easily visible by people on different websites, right? We know that RealComp's one of them, but imagine buyers looking at a variety of different websites. So I wanted to point out the fact that it's 274 feet. That's like unheard of in Royal Oak, right? And I also did quite a bit of photos. Can you see this pop up of the photos? The drone, I wanted shots of this backyard, right? I mean, I did that purposely. I wouldn't normally do drone shots in Royal Oak. I mean, the houses are like on top of each other. But this one in particular, I wanted to highlight that. That's what makes this house unique a little bit. So anyways, 274 foot, open layout, main level, solid walnut floors throughout. Kitchen is birch cabinets, granite countertops. Again, kind of feature dumping, but it makes it sound nice. Second level guest bedrooms, each have access to full bathroom with separate tub, shower, and toilet area. It's kind of hard to visualize until you're there, but it's really cool because each of the bedrooms opens up into this shared bathroom that has a sink and then has a separate area of toilet and shower. So if it's like me, I know my kids, they always fight over it, right? Because I have a boy and a girl, and one of them wants to brush their teeth while the other one's showering. And with this layout, they can actually do that with some privacy. Master bedroom features dual closets. Master bath has shower and tub. That's important for some people or tub people. Second floor laundry is a convenience you never knew you needed. Like if you guys ever had second floor laundry with the bedrooms upstairs, it's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
I've had it and I've not had it. It's a lot better with it. So I'm painting the picture because chances are if someone's coming from a ranch or they're going downstairs for laundry or a bungalow or they're going on 2 flights, you know, that's something that's, and it's not in the photos because they're in a closet upstairs. I didn't get a photo of them. You don't know that until you're reading this. Finished basement has lots of storage. That's always a concern when people finish basements because they think they're going to finish, they finished all of it, and is plumbed for a future bathroom. Most people wouldn't know that. Right? They're looking through the photos and they're thinking, oh, there's no bathroom down there. It's plumbed for it. They just didn't install it. Some pump has water pressure backup for peace of mind. That's a Royal Oak. I mean, all basements water can infiltrate, but especially Royal Oak. A lot of people are concerned about, you know, water in their basement. These sellers had an issue. That's why they installed this water pressure backup. Outside the home is a great covered back patio, detached 2-car garage, shed, an enormous backyard with stamped concrete patio and fire pit.
Tantalizing.
Yeah. All kitchen appliances as well as washer dryer are included. Granted, I didn't put all these exclusions in there. I waited for the agent to be able to recite those. But I do want the public seeing all appliances are included, you know, with the exception of the mini fridge and the stand-up freezer, which typically are never included, but you want to explicitly list them as excluded so there's no confusion. So yeah, that's my little spiel. I'm trying to, again, I when I started this conversation with you guys, it was set your perfect listing. And what I mean by the perfect listing, I mean all of the information that someone could need to make a decision and to write a really solid offer without talking to you. Now, I do want them to talk to you. I want you talking to them. But if you want a weekend or you don't want to be back, on the phone constantly, you're going to save yourself a lot of time by putting out all these things.
And this,
yeah, go ahead.
In addition, you spoke to this earlier, this MLS listing is your the root of all of your marketing, of
Hmm.
all of your online marketing. So this
It's your resume.
description,
It's your resume,
yeah,
right? Yeah.
this description and all of the information that's input in here is what gets propagated out to every online resource everywhere. This is how you get them in the door, right?
Yep.
And garbage in, garbage out. So pay attention to this.
Yeah. So even though the possession, there's negotiable, there's 0 to 30, 31 plus, immediate, right? If it's immediate, put immediate. But if there's specifics, possession, right? You can't put a date there, but I put in here, seller needs occupancy through June, right? And on Saturday, if I start getting offers and we call for a best and final, I'm going to notify all the agents that have shown it, all the agents that are going to show it, all the agents that have submitted an offer. I'm going to put it in showing time. I'm going to put it in here as well, right? I'm going to put the deadline. I'm going to put the time that we're going to review offers and then when we're going to announce a winner. I'm going to put all, otherwise you're going to have 20 people who submitted offers pounding down your phone saying, when are you going to make a decision? What's going on? Again, I'm not saying that people aren't going to talk to you. I'm making the instructions as foolproof as possible to the best of my ability. And I think
because then if they do want to call you about something, it's going to be something with some meat, hopefully.
Yeah,
right?
Exactly. Yep, exactly.
So where are you putting that?
I would put, I mean, if we're actually calling for best and final, I'm going to update the public remarks too. I'm
So
just
you're
not going to put.
updating it.
Yeah, exactly. I'm not going to delete what's there. I'm just going to update it. Yep. But I'm
You're
also
going to go, I'm sorry, you're going to go into the input, go back into that condo form, go to that 4th page or 5th page, and that's where you edit it. Go
And
ahead.
then they'll get a notification like this has been updated?
No. Okay.
No.
So let me explain. So if you update anything in here, no one's going to see it unless they pull it up and read it, right?
Okay.
However, if you there is a way to notify all. You guys ever get an email from an agent in our office that says new listing, price change, best and final? You wonder how they did that or why they did that? So under your listings, I'm in showing time now. Under my listings, right here, these are the we've already talked about this. I would update this, right? I would, if I had a best and final date, I would block out showings from the time that we were not allowing them anymore because I don't want I don't want a showing for Monday afternoon if I'm calling for best and final by Sunday, right? At 6 p.m., right? So I'm going to block that off and I'm going to update the notes. I'm going to say best and final due by this time, seller make a decision by blah, 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 blah. I'm going to update it everywhere. But again, that doesn't notify anyone either unless they open this up. What I am going to do though is click send notifications. You see that where my mouse is? And that's going to bring up a screen that shows send this message to, and this is whatever you select. By default, it says agents that have shown it in the last 180 days. Okay. And then message type, just 2, price adjustment or other. I just do other and subject. I'm just putting them in there, right? And then I'm going to put seller has, we've received multiple offers, blah, 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 blah. We want a deadline of our, showings until
Whatever,
4
4:30.
p.m.
Yeah.
All offers due by 6 p.m. Seller to review Sunday night, make a decision, announce Monday at 10 a.m. Any questions, Matt? My email, my phone, abundantly clear here. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So right now, and I know that says agents that have shown this property, in my opinion, that sounds past tense. If you notice, I haven't shown, this house hasn't been shown at all yet because it doesn't start until Saturday, but it says it'll go to 6 recipients. So it's going to go to the 6 that have already scheduled a future showing too. So if you do this on Saturday and there's still showings to be on Sunday, it's going to go to all of them. Now, if someone schedules a showing after you send this notification, they're not going to see this, right? That makes sense?
Yep.
So just keep that in mind. But if I click update, I can check, right? Because maybe there was an agent that showed it and they said, I'm not interested at all. You can uncheck it. You don't have to send it to them at all.
Here's another thing. Before you, or I don't know, close,
Yep.
right? You can copy and paste the body of that email and shove it in the agent remarks of
Yep.
showing time.
Yep.
So that
exactly.
means anyone who's newly going to schedule it will already know what's coming.
Mhm. Now, someone from our office that feels the need, they click all agents in my firm.
All the time. I know.
Super annoying, guys. Don't do it, please. Actually, I'm proposing in the ALC that we have that as a rule. They can't do that.
Yes. Thank you.
So anyways, that's how agents do notifications to everyone. And what agents on the receiving end, they don't see other agents' email. They don't see who else it went to. They don't see how many people it went to, right? It's coming via showing time just to them. Now, if you want, you can just, send it to individual people, or you can just, send it to them individually. If you get their email, right? You can just copy and paste their email and send it to them individually. It's time consuming, but you could do it. Okay. Does that make sense, guys? I'm again, I know this parts of it seem elementary, but so many of you guys are getting listings, and I want you to be that stellar listing agent, because one, it's going to help you get the best terms and price for your seller. Number two, it's going to just show you leaps and bounds above other agents when you're dealing with other buyers agents. And three, it's going to do what it should, which is get you that next listing too.
And it's going to make your life easier.
Yes, it will. Yes, it will.
Because if you're smart about this, you can take on more business, right? It's designing what you do and how you do it so that you don't burn out.
Exactly. I mean, there's a reason why top listing agents can just take weekends off, right? I mean, they're still fielding calls and emails, I'm sure, but they're not constantly, they've set themselves up for success. I'll say that. Okay. Any last questions, comments? No? Any thoughts? Anybody wants to bring me a buyer?
I just got a message from someone that I know from CC who says, I'm just reaching out to you about your Hemingway listing. My son is working with this other agent that I saw already sent a listing, and for his first house, and it's been a shit show to say the least. The market, we're so bummed, but so basically she's throwing her feelers out there because I know her, like, hey, this is my son that somebody might be writing an offer for.
Wow.
Anyway.
Yeah.
There you go.
That's an interesting thing. This basement's terrible. I keep telling him. My seller did take down like 22 deer heads though that were in this basement. So at least he did that. I told him someone's going to come down here and paint this all white.
It'd be pretty painted.
Yeah, that's what I said.
Hey Matt, is there any way that on that showing time, like you mentioned, that all people who were scheduled, you can customize those notifications right away? If anything changes within the listing to the reverse prospecting list, because that is tedious and long-winded when the market wasn't this hot.
Unfortunately, no. So what, like, does everyone know what reverse prospecting is? Maybe not. So you can't do it with coming soon, to my understanding. Basically, so when you click on your listing, when you're on a listing, why can't I do this? All right, when you have a listing, right, my listings, right, this one's coming soon. If you click a little checkbox and select the one, you can click this button, reverse prospect. It doesn't allow you to do it as a coming soon, which is really weird. But maybe it'll allow me to do it on my pending. Okay, so let's say this is an active listing, right? You click that box and you click reverse prospect. Reverse prospect is going to bring up all of the agents. These are agent names and emails and companies and phone numbers that they're with. All the agents that have a client that is on a portal, or I shouldn't even say have a client. These are all the agents that have a portal or an auto email set up that home fits the criteria of what that saved search is. And when I say it doesn't have to be a client, it's because I, as an agent, have a bunch of saved searches, auto emails that send to myself, because I like knowing what's going on in my market. I like just receiving them. I don't have a particular buyer, but I want to know if someone hits the market and sells lines. It's just the way I am. What you're also going to see is whether or not the client, any client that they have that does have this home that fits their criteria, has marked it as a a possibility or a favorite. I don't know. Does it also show a trash can, or does it exclude that? Anyways, this one in particular is a bunch of people that seem to like it. And what Michelle's saying, or what you could do, is individually copy and paste the emails. There's not a way to mass email all of these people, just FYI. The reason, according to Real Comp, is because people would be spamming the shit out of each other. So the workaround is to copy and paste emails. You can do it individually. You could do it blind copy, or give them a call, pick up the phone. And the message is, and you may have received one, is, hey, Megan, you have a client that has interested that my new listing fits, what they're looking for. Has anyone ever got one of those and wonder what are you talking about? You've got a client, you've got an auto email set up and their listing fits in it, and they're seeing you. They're reverse prospecting. They're going after you because they know you have a buyer. Whether or not your buyer is interested in the home is irrelevant, but they're doing their job. So you can, especially in a listing that's been sitting for a little bit, right? Copy and paste these emails, make sure you're reaching out to them, make sure they know about them. Because we always assume that the agents do. Some agents don't peruse them. Their buyers might. So what the easiest thing to do is say, hey, did you know you have a buyer that's favorited this house? It's super easy to show. Come see it, right? And I swear, this doesn't always work, but I've reached out to an agent. She's like, hey, thanks for bringing it to my attention. I didn't know. And then I saw a showing request came through, and then she showed it, or they showed it. So it does work. But that's what that means. And that's another thing that I tell my sellers as part of my marketing plan. I'm going to reverse prospect to all of our, agents. Cool.
Cool.
Okay. Anything else?
Did you guys get something from this? What's the feedback?
Yes. Good.
I thought this was
Yeah.
super helpful for me.
Yeah,
Good.
change the hours on that showing time.
Yeah, everybody takes a little different piece, right?
Set yourself up for success. Another thing I just thought of, if you've got multiple keys for a property, label them. If one's for the door, one's for the deadbolt, like you guys are, if you're out there showing houses and you're a buyer's agent, make a mental note of everything you hate and don't do that as a listing agent. This is your opportunity to be a stellar listing agent. It'll make it easier on you. It'll make it easier on your clients. It'll help you get the top dollar for your house. Yeah. Okay, cool. Thank you guys. Appreciate your time. Let me know if you have anything. I'm sure Sharon and I will be busy over the weekend. Sharon, where's your new listing at?
Redford, right by Thurston, right by the high school.
What price?
160.
Ooh, how many
Really
showings do you have?
cute. Close to 60, I think. Already.
This market
Yeah.
is bananas.
Yeah.
I'm going to leave with this. Rob posted something in our coaching group. If you haven't already, go there and read it. It's kind of what Sharon and I have been talking about.
61.
If you're sitting around waiting for opportunity, it might be a long wait. If you've got clients out there, go out and find the opportunity. There's no better time to be able to say, hey, Mr. Homeowner, can I talk to you a little bit? You might be sitting on a gold mine, and it's true. So read that if you haven't already. Let me know if you have any questions. Yeah, make it a great weekend, guys.